What's up, guys? Studfit here. We have another episode of The Rundown, this time in LA, the LA Los Angeles tour. We got some burgers, we got some fries, we got some shakes, we got a big hitbox, we got Lucky 7, we got a lot of things to get into. So we can't wait to get into it. Antilev, thank you again for joining us, though.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Huge shout out to our members. We have so many awesome members of our community. We're doing a lot of fun things. We just kicked off a competition in the month of February. Antilev is actually going on vacation. We'll not be able to do the rundown the first week in March. And so the contest is, we have our Monday member multiplayer contest. Whoever wins, whoever collects the most points over the month of February gets to join me on the rundown, replace Antilev, try to fill his shoes for one episode. It's going to be impossible. But here are our members. We have so many great members. It's good. Antilev, we're so glad to have you, man. And you truly are an angel to this community. So thankful for everything you do, and appreciate that. But there will be a lucky member of our members who will be able to join me. John Boy won our last contest and joined us in December. So huge shout out to the Super Studs, specifically Guanlin, Zhao, Natt. I know that they're chillaxing. Appreciate their support. Jeeves is back. So we got some mods, Larry98, Angelita, John Boy, holding down the fort. Even in these chats, they're probably there right now. KnightRoso, Karim, Frenzy Fans, Princess, LadyRain, and ThisBeChris. Huge shout out to our super subs. They are phenomenal. And so many great members in general. Can't get through them all, but just so thankful for our member community. They keep this going. They allow us to be able to have those special episodes. So we had the Kart Trifecta, Meta Trifecta this past Monday. Awesome video, link in the description. Check that out. It's kind of goes into a breakdown of three karts, and these three karts being the Yellow Off-Roader, the Vampire Flyer, and the Silver King. The three of those karts cover 21 of the 27 assumed tracks, and that still holds true through this tour because all the tracks this tour are city tracks. They are not assumed, meaning that they are the rotating tracks that get rotated through. There's only 27 of them since the Ninja Tour, including the Ninja Tour. The Ninja Tour all had technically the track that is not circulating because Ninja Hideaway doesn't circulate the same way that the rest of the tracks do. So really helpful to see that laid out. And the reason I mention that is because the Combo Cruiser is kind of a meta light in that respect. So we'll get into that piece of it too. But these members help allow us to be able to do that. I'm working with a special project with Anke on how to use Lucky 7 as well. So these members keep it going, keep the fun going. We got Strat of the Week and a lot of other Driver of the Week as well. So much fun to do that with you guys. All right, let's get into it, man. We're 3 minutes in, and we've had this huge pipe we haven't even talked about yet. So I'm excited to get into it. We've got Charging Chuck. I know Sammy D was like, "Oh man, Studfit must be pumped. He loves football. We got a football driver." Yeah, I feel bad because I don't remember much of him other than you jumped on his head and moved on. He wasn't necessarily a character I was like, I absolutely love. I can't wait till this guy comes to Mario Kart Tour. But he's a new driver. He's he's not an alt. He is an original character. And he's an original character with an awesome skill. With Lucky 7, which is a skill that we were not expecting. But so glad that he has it, at least in my opinion. What's the count? Coinboxers, Lucky 7, total number of drivers?
So for Coinboxers, we have 13 in total. But he is the 11th high-end Lucky 7 driver in the game. And that number rises to 12 if you include King Boo, who's a super. So Lucky 7s are catching up.
I can't believe that, man. I felt like the Lucky 7s were now surpassing because we've had so many in the last 6 months between Peach Happy and Luigi Painter and Saddle View, and we just got to have all these Lucky 7s. But I'm okay with it. I think if he came in and he had a lame skill, if he had Mushroom Cannon, I'd be to be honest with you, I'd be pretty upset. But I like him. I love football. First of all, this tour, it's actually I have to give props to Nintendo on this tour. We have LA Laps in the same week that we have the Super Bowl, which is taking place in LA. In fact, one of the teams is the LA Rams. So it is all four. They lined it up perfectly. Couldn't ask for a better script to be able to have this tour. Now, of course, we have is LA Labs 3, which I guess instead of taking place in a football stadium, it takes place in a power plant, craziness. I don't know. That part has me scratching my head. But we have a Lucky 7 driver. We have an original driver. And I think the majority of the community pulled on him. A couple other good items in there as well. But Antilev, tell me, when you saw this pipe, what was your initial reaction? Did you pull? And I know you also have a free-to-play account. How did you kind of go through those assessments for that account as well?
I haven't pulled yet. My main account and my free-to-play account, I have just enough rubies on both of them to clear it once. So I was waiting to see what kind of skill he had. If he was gonna have giant banana or coin box or boomerang, I probably would have pulled right away. Lucky 7, it's if you look at his starting coverage and you look at his skill, I'm not necessarily convinced by his start. So I'm gonna wait until the next tour preview and see if we get any clues to what we're getting, who the new driver and items are gonna be for that tour. And if it's not that impressive, then I will pull. But at the end of the tour. So I'm kind of taking a little bit of a wait and see approach here.
Okay, so waiting to even pull him at all.
Yeah, I might just skip it. I mean, the thing is, we have so many Lucky 7 drivers in the game, and I cannot invest in all of them. Especially if we're getting less driver tickets. It's too much to try to keep 13 coin box drivers and then 11 high end Lucky 7 drivers. Well, not 11 because I don't have all of them, but I mean, it's a lot to invest in. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's awesome we're getting a new driver, a new original, and I think it's awesome that he has a useful skill. But I'm being a bit cautious on this one.
You probably were wishing he had. Sorry, go ahead.
I wish he had giant banana. Yeah, I was really hoping for giant banana because I would have pulled it 2 minutes after the tour opened if he did. I was gonna say the cart looks awesome though. Has a pretty interesting, strong start from his tracks, and it's huge. It's almost as big as the off-roader we found out. So, and it looks so cool. It makes me hungry.
Makes you hungry just from looking at it. Yeah, man. First of all, you said a lot of good points, and I think that's all fair. And we'll get into each of these new items and their coverage here in just 1 second. But you mentioned one thing specific, and that's the fact that we had a hashtag FixDS campaign, movement, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just so thankful for the community. This was an idea that came up. Alex Young actually approached me and said, "Is this something you think ER would be interested in?" And I said, "Let me run it by the staff." And we got some support. It wasn't unanimous, so it was kind of an unofficial thing. But it took off. We had so many awesome people in the community. And personally, if anyone did not use the hashtag, there's no hard feelings. This was never meant to be political or sides. It was definitely not intended to create any type of to divide the community. The goal was to unify it. So if anyone didn't get on the bandwagon and put that in their name, that's okay. I have no hard feelings there. But I'm just so thankful for the people that did. We had, I think, close to 200 people in the top 1,000 put FixDS in their name, and it's way too early to tell. But it appears as if we actually did something. I'll be honest with you. Going into it, I was super skeptical. I said, I don't know what this is going to happen. But the main reason that I did push for it and kind of took it to other servers and got people excited about it is because I did think this community needed a spark. I think it needed the community to come together around something. And the daily selects is something that everyone feels, regardless of whether you feel like, hey, this is a whale problem, this is not a whale problem, I don't have enough coins for this. That doesn't really matter, in my opinion. What matters is that we open up our apps, and many of us, our day revolves around this one moment where we scroll down slowly to see if we had a high-end ticket, and sometimes we do or we don't, but that kind of, either gives us those endorphins or doesn't. Some of us just put in our support ticket. We just want transparency. I think regardless of how you feel about it, It was a way for us to show Nintendo that we are unified and that we can stand behind something. And it didn't necessarily have to be Daily Sucks. It could have been something else, but it was timely in that some people in the community were feeling a little their enjoyment waning. So I think this was great timing, and it gave us something to unite around. But I will say, from looking at the responses, Nintendo actually, I'll have to commend them. Some of their responses were actually kind of revealing. One of the things that they said is that obviously, it's the fact that they'll take our feedback. But the email that I received said something where it said, we do change these rates from time to time. Like, from time to time, meaning this is not the first time. It does happen occasionally. We don't know if they've changed it back or what it'll be. They have both tables up there, so we can't always know which one's active. At least that's how I understand it. Angelita, feel free to correct me there. But I know I got a high-end ticket yesterday and 2 high-end tickets today. And all across the community, it does seem like, and again, this is all anecdotal evidence, but it does seem like the shops have been opened. It's way too early to tell, so we'll have to see how it goes. And I know that there are a dozen people I saw that did not have a ticket today, but I would say the general, and so feel free to let me know in the comments if you did get a ticket, if you feel a different experience already 2 days in. But anyway, just want to put it out there. It does seem like we might have had some reaction. And, they mentioned in that email something to the extent of, we heard your message. We heard it loud and clear. We heard your response. We heard this hashtag. And so I think from that respect, I just want to thank the community. I just want to send my appreciation. It's a humbling moment to see the community come together and put arms together around a common goal. So fun there. So there you go. I got that rant out of the way. I think people watch the rundown twice as much as any other video that I put out there. So I just want to make sure that I was very clear in thanking the community. Whether you think it's great for the Daily Selects to be buffed or not, or level 8, I don't think it has anything to do with that. But the goal was that we united. We're asking for transparency. We showed Nintendo that we are powerful as one community. And for that, I thank you. All right, into the new items. We have a lot of them, including 3 drivers and 5 carts. I don't know if we've ever had 5 carts released in a tour in quite some time, but if you were looking for carts, we got them. No gliders, though, so at least we had that going for us, which is nice. As we talked about with Charging Chuck, Lucky 7. We have 2 golf characters thrown in there. Now, I know Puffton was upset that we got golf. It's more of a it's a Scottish sport, which is true, but there are some great great courses there in the LA area, Pebble Beach. Thinking about some, but some golf drivers. It's weird that it's like 6 months after their golf game was released, but there you go. Then we have the Combo Cruiser, probably the most questioned. So we actually kind of put it out to the server, just trying to have some fun with it. We had some people mention that I like to butcher names, and I'd say probably 90% of the time it's on purpose. Things like the Batmobile, and you've heard me 100 times, Cat Todd, whatever it might be. But kind of put it out as a contest. Rename this cart. And so ThisBeChris won with the Cholesterol Cruiser. I think we had the obesity cart, the 2,000 calorie cart. We had a lot of submissions. So ThisBeChris, we got the Cholesterol Cruiser here with a huge hitbox, a very unique cart. It's weird, right? So I'm American, and it's so weird. We have literally the most disgusting looking cart when you think about how fatty it is and how unhealthy it is, and how America probably is one of the most obese countries in the world, and here it is, just kind of being poked at a little bit here. I'm not bothered by it by any means, but I just think it's very strange. Now, of the U.S. kind of based items that Nintendo's released, none of them have really had any value. So I do think that for some reason, one of the cards on here could be our next number 1 card in the game. I don't know. I will say, Combo Cruiser, I've had more people ask me about its hitbox and how big is it and how does it compare to the other cards and should I invest in it. So we'll get to a lot of the data behind it from Antilev. But I will say, we do not have the actual measurements on the Combo Cruiser. I would love to be able to show you exactly where it ranks, but shout out to ER Curtis. He's done a phenomenal job putting together the hitbox size dimensions, and we went back and forth of, is it going at an angle? Is it straight on? What is a hitbox? Curtis is actually doing some other things with his life. We wish him the best. He is no longer doing this this data, and there's an algorithm to it, and it does take somebody smarter than me to do it. So if you like hitboxes, and you like math, and you like dimensions, and you would like to take over this resource, we would love for you to have that support. Feel free to reach out to me in the comments or find me on Discord. We are taking volunteers to be able to do that, but I do not have any information to you about the exact, pixels dimensions of this card, but it is big. It is almost as big as Antilev had mentioned, almost as big as the Off-Roader and Vampire Flyer. I can kind of compare it to kind of the Crawley cart size. Obviously, it's a unique shape, similar to the Crawley cart, but a lot going on there. 2 golf drivers, not great skills. We have a couple other carts. We'll get into some of the carts. I'm not too excited about any of them. I really wanted a golf cart, like one of those actual golf carts you go around the golf course in. The one I will point out as I think could be really, really, really sneaky good would be the Wild Slugger. I know that it is a reward for winning ranked, which kind of makes me skeptical that it'll be really good. None of those have been like exceptional. However, usually what happens, at least in the past, is that Nintendo likes to make one of a family really valuable. So at least one of a family breaks the top 10 at some point in time. And, of these sluggers, which now we have 3, none of them have broken our top 10. So I think also, in addition, it doesn't say black in the title, but it is black. It is the Wild Slugger is the color black. So I think this could be sneaky good. It could be, saying it's the best of the family is not saying anything at all. But this would be one. This and the Combo Cruiser would be the 2 that I would probably keep the eye on. But as you know, pipes that seem to be neglected for whatever reason, Nintendo likes to buffalo. So this Mario and Luigi Golf and these 2 silly looking carts could be sneaky good too. So I don't know what to say of it. And then of course we have a new cart in a special pipe that's a Spotlight, and those are always valuable. So Antilev, help me break this down. You got to give me some data. What kind of carts should I invest in, and what am I looking at when it comes to these new drivers?
Should we start with Charge and Shock, because he's sort of like the main event this tour. So this is the city tour, right? So all of these new items are getting started with some non-city tracks and some city tracks. We are going to mainly focus on their non-city coverage. When you talk about investing in items for the long term, you're talking about investing in their non-city, in them for their non-city coverage, because those are the tracks that come back. So Charging Chuck starts with 9 tracks, 6 non-cities. He doesn't have a ton of overlap with any specific drivers starting, but one he does, which is very worrying, is he's got 3 tracks which overlap with Shy Guy Ninja, who is a boomerang driver, which is very high scoring. He's also got 3 overlaps with Penguin Mario, and then he's got 2 overlaps with a number of other drivers. Some of the most notable there are Peach Happy, Peach Explorer, Mario Satellaview, and Mario Halloween. Of his 6 non-city tracks, only 1 is a coin box track. Wario Shipyard R has Meowser on it. The other 5 did not. So that is a good sign. But on the other side, every single one of those 6 tracks has at least 1 plus skill driver. On Cheep Cheep Island N and Wario Shipyard T, he only shares this with Peach Happy, so maybe if you don't have her at a high level or you don't have her at all, he's interesting for you, would give you some coverage. It's actually coincidentally one of the reasons I considered to pull for him on my free-to-play, because I don't have a top shelf driver for Cheep Cheep Island or Wario Shipyard T. Moving on to the other tracks, DK Summit R, he shares that one with Ninja Shy Guy, Satellaview Mario, Halloween Mario, and Chef Mario. So 1 Boomerang Driver and 3 Lucky 7s. Wow. DK Summit T he shares with Ninja Shy Guy, Nabbit, and Mario Halloween. So 2 Lucky 7 drivers and a Boomerang. Wario Shipyard N he shares with Yoshi Kangaroo and Mario Satellaview. Wario Shipyard R he shares with Ninja Shy Guy, Meowser, Classic Luigi, and Luigi Vacation. So 2 Boomerangs, a coin box, and a Lucky 7 there. His starting tracks are not really that impressive because he doesn't have, quote-unquote, exclusives where he is the only plus skill driver. So, you know, that's why I'm a little bit cautious about pulling for him right away, because he does not have like a really dominating start. Like when Meowser came out, he had already 4 of his first tracks were like exclusives, or he was the only like heavy coin box driver, for example. One more tracks where he was like the clear best option, and I don't see that with Charging Chuck. So that's sort of why I'm taking a little bit more of a wait and see approach to him. Let's move on to Mario and Luigi Golf. Mario is starting with 5 non-city tracks. Not too much overlap. He does have 2 overlaps with Vacation Peach and 2 other overlaps with Daisy Holiday Cheer. He doesn't have any drivers where there's 3 or more overlaps. Luigi Golf has quite a bit more of overlaps. He's got 2 drivers where he overlaps 3 times. That's Peach Halloween and Peach Explorer, both decent drivers. And then, you know, about 10 drivers where he's got 2 overlaps. Most notable being Peach Happy, Luigi Vacation, Gold King Boo, and Santa Bowser. So his start is a bit worrying as well. If we go into the karts, the Combo Cruiser starts with 6 non-city tracks. There's 2 items which it has 3 overlaps with. The first one is Green Lightning, which is another new track. But the other one, this is I think the most worrying one, is Yellow Off-Roader. Yellow Off-Roader and Combo Cruiser both have all 3 cheap island variants. If you have invested in Yellow Off-Roader, Combo Cruiser loses a lot of value for you starting right away. And I know a lot of people have. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Aside from that, also has 2 overlaps with Vampire Flyer, 2 overlaps with Tanuki Kart, 2 overlaps with Rambi Runner, and 2 overlaps with Painster. So those are some really, you know, out of a total of maybe, I think, 12 carts where it has 2 overlaps. So this is some very worrying starting coverage. There are some really popular and excellent carts, in this overlap report. It does have a really, really huge hitbox. I think people measured it to be just a shade under off-roader. So if you pull it, and this says nothing about future buffs, we don't know, just talking about the starting tracks. Moving on to the sneaker, this has a lot of overlaps there's 6 non-city tracks, overlaps 3 times with Iron Cucumber, Gold Cheap Charger, Crimson Hop Rod, and Black Kabuki Dasher, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 carts where it overlaps twice with, but they're all kind of not really that new or modern or meta cards. The only one that's really a top card, I would say, is the B-Dasher Mark II there. Going to the Green Lightning, I thought this one was kind of supposed to be the golf cart type of card, because it looks a little bit like a golf cart, a golf buggy without a roof on it. I don't know. I like the way it looks. It's kind of
okay.
It's kind of ugly, but it's kind of cool. Green Lightning starts with 5 non-city tracks. Overlaps 3 times with the Wild Slugger, the new one, and the Combo Cruiser as well, as earlier mentioned, and also the Iron Cucumber 3 times. It's got also 2 overlaps with a few different cards, not too many though. The ones worth mentioning are the Vampire Flyer and the Rambi Runner. We're looking at the Wild Slugger next, starting with 5 non-cities. Only 1 card it overlaps with 3 times, that's the Green Lightning. Out of the cards where it has 2 overlaps, Vampire Flyer, Silver King, Rambi Runner, and Black Cat Cruiser are the most notable. And finally, we have the Cupid Arrow. I made a little bit of a guess on this one and said that it's above average size, because it looks like with those wings on there, it's a quite wide hitbox, but we will not really know that, I guess, until Sunday. Mm-hmm. I don't think it matters too much for the rankings right now. Anyways, it starts with 6 non-city tracks, only overlapping 3 times with 1 card that is the Cheer Mellow. So if it is big, that is a nice hitbox upgrade. Cheer Mellow is one of the smallest cards in the game. It overlaps with 11 cards twice. Most notable is Silver King, Rambi Runner, Gold Pumpkin Card, and the Black Cat Cruiser. I think that's all of the new items. Yeah.
It's a great job. That's a lot to review. I think the main question. I honestly haven't even got a lot of questions about Charging Chuck and should I pull for him? Should I get him up? Everyone's just obsessed with this Combo Cruiser, the cholesterol cruiser, man.
It's funny. We get a new original driver and people are more into the cart than the driver. It's weird.
Seriously, and it's ugly. Yeah, in my opinion. So I do like the little little spear going through the burger in the front. That's cute. But if you look at its coverage, right, it's got 3 of the LA tracks, 3 of the Cheap Islands, and 3 of the Wario shipyards. And so...
Yeah, so the Wario shipyards are very valuable, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I would say, like, the Cheap Islands, you might already have made coverage. It's still a newer track, and it hasn't really come back, like, a lot since it's been released. As compared to some of the Bowser Castle we've seen, like, 3 tours in a row. It didn't have kind of like that dynamic, but you might have already kind of covered that to a certain extent, and if you have Yellow Off-Roader, you may not want to invest in it, but the Wario Shipyard is probably where the most value is. 2 of the 3 tracks, I think it's the Normal and the T, are covered by the Vampire Flyer, which has similar hitbox to it, so it's not going to like be trumped or anything like that by that track. But 2 of the 3 there. So, I think if think about the meta trifecta, if you have invested strongly there, which I highly recommend you do, you may not want to invest in the Combo Cruiser. Now, is the Combo Cruiser a meta killer? Absolutely not. It's kind of a meta light in that it'll kind of get you by and cover some of these more difficult tracks of all of those 3 meta. But, you're still missing a lot of Vanilla Lake. You're missing a lot of the other RT tracks that are out there. But specifically, I really like that Nintendo put all 3 of the set. I think we see this... one of the gliders that makes me think of this is the Cheap Masks, because it's... A lot of its tracks, it has, like, all 3 of, like, Cheap Lagoon or something like that. So anytime in all cup ranking, anytime there's Cheap Lagoon, it's like, awesome, I have Cheap Masks and I'm going to crush it. So it is cool that they kind of put all 3. For all cup ranking, that's really, really helpful information to know. But take a look at Wario Shipyard and see where your coverage is on those 3 tracks. And if you're not covered, feel free to invest in it. But honestly, the Yellow Off-Roader, Vampire Flyer, and the Silver King, that's probably still where I would gravitate. But it's certainly one worth getting and then stashing and waiting, unless you absolutely need it for Wario Shipyard. There you go. And coming out of the Waluigi tour, Waluigi versus Wario, if I call it Waluigi Shipyard, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time because I am still excited that we won, guys. We won. Waluigi team came in strong, so great job, everyone. All right. For the non-spotlights, nothing new for drivers, nothing new for karts. And when we look at gliders, there's one new change, which is the Springtime Crane. Nice little addition there. And as you'll notice,
very good glider.
You're right. It's a very good glider, and it actually hasn't come back in a special pipe or any crazy pipe like that we've been able to stock up on it. So if you're pulling and get a today's challenge pipe or anything like that, or get 100 pipe and you get one of these non-spotlights, like that's one that you'd love to get because it's one of the newer ones and probably not one you have at level 7. I haven't met anyone that's taken it to level 7, but I'm sure there are people been out there. Kudos to you who have. It's an interesting little glider. But you also notice here, doesn't appear as if there's a non-spotlight glider next week. A spotlight next week that would show up as a non-spotlight this week. So we'll see how that turns out. Maybe that could be changed. Maybe they throw in one of these gliders in there. But as of right now, it doesn't appear as if any spotlight glider for next week. So let's jump into that pipe. It appears that we'll have 2 driver spotlights, 2 kart spotlights in this Los Angeles 2 pipe with these golf drivers and these classic karts. What are your thoughts on this week 2 pipe?
Yeah, it's a guess because there are no, pay no attention to the Silver Bells and the Silver Surfmaster in the picture. There are no spotlight gliders. I was updating the tracker, and one of the features I added recently is the ability to turn on the spotlight boosts, and I was looking through the tracks to see which gliders were getting spotlight boosts, but actually there are no spotlight gliders or new gliders or anything in this whole tour, which is very strange to me. This pipe, if it's 9%, it's like, pretty standard week 2 pipe odds. It's very rare that we get new drivers in a week 2 pipe or new items in general. A lot of times they're returning items, so that could make it interesting. But at the same time, the Mario and Luigi Golf, they both have pretty bad skills, so not like super interesting. The cards look pretty cool. There might be interesting cards, but it's hard to recommend pulling on this one just from the initial impression.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what's going on with this pipe. Like, no idea.
I don't know what the I mean, maybe these will end up being like the most cracked, crazy items. Maybe Mario and Luigi Golf are gonna get 45 tracks or something nuts.
Dude, this blows my mind. Like, what is this about?
I have no idea.
It's like they thought about doing a golf tour and then scrapped it and said, "We have these new items. What do we do with it?" Man, I'm very perplexed as to what's going on with this pipe. I don't have no idea the future of any of these items. And
it would have been cool if they did this like during the Ryder Cup and made it like a US versus Europe, there's a way they could do it in a sort of good thematic way, but this just seems random.
Seems super random, and these carts they're I guess they're classic cards, so they maybe they felt like it was good to put this in there. The only pipe that this kind of reminds me of is the Birdo pipe last year during the Easter tour. You remember that when Black Birdo was released? We were like, what's going on here? No one should pull on this pipe. And then here she was, Black Birdo, being extremely powerful because no one pulled on that pipe. And there's been, I know Frenzy fans have talked about this a couple different times. The pipes that no one pulls are the ones where there's something that is extremely valuable. Whether it's a new cart or something. So I might, to be honest with you, I might pull on this pipe just because I'm curious. I have no idea what's going to go on. I hate all these items. They look terrible to me. I mean,
on the other hand, it's 2 new drivers in a pipe, which you almost never see.
And 2 new carts. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I will probably be pulling on it just because I'm a whale and I have that luxury. But I do not recommend anyone pulling this pipe. No one should have rubies at this point. Like, everyone should be out. I just happen to have some rubies sitting around because I didn't pull on the special pipes from last tour. But man, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens from it. But it's by far the most interesting thing I've seen in a week 2 pipe in a long time. The other pipe that I think I will go in just a little bit, but not very much, will be this Valentine's pipe. I basically do not like very many of these items, except for the new Spotlight item, which is the Cupid's Arrow. The one caveat is your favorite glider, the Rose Parasol. It's an awesome glider. I just took it to 7, $5.95, thanks to your advice, and I have been enjoying it. I absolutely love it. Everything, and then Chef Mario's okay, but everything else to me is not worth pulling on. So I will be going. I'm hoping that the Cupid's Arrow will be in the very early in the pipe. But worst case scenario, I'll put 200 and whatever 225 rubies into this pipe to get that one cart, and then I'm gonna move it on. But I think in these pipes we try to guess what these odds are going to be. Nintendo's been very generous with 50 pipes, especially during celebrations. And so, what are your thoughts on the odds on this pipe, man?
It has to be at bare minimum 4. We've got the card as a spotlight, so then there needs to be 3 non-spotlights, 1 for each chance of a driver, cart, or glider. Last time we had a pipe like this, I also guessed 4, and it ended up being 6. So yeah, like you said, they're being more generous than expected. This is a weird pipe. None of the items are like truly awful items, except maybe the Sweetheart glider. But none of them are really spectacular items either, except for the Rose Parasol. They're all just kind of middle of the road, and like Rose Taxi and Pauline Rose, they have had their time as above average items. And Chef Mario is a Lucky 7 driver. He's older, whatever. And so it's just a very strange pipe. But I mean, I think they just took all the Valentine's items, put them in. I'll guess 5 high ends. Maybe 2 drivers, 1 non-spotlight glider, 1 non-spotlight cart, and the spotlight.
All right, man. I'm gonna go 6.
You might be right.
I'm gonna say two drivers, 1 non-spotlight cart, 1 spotlight cart, and then two gliders. I don't know. You could be right as well. At this point in time, Nintendo doesn't like to, for whatever reason, they like to just keep us on our toes, at least for the special pipes. Which, hey, I could appreciate. I can get behind that. Anything else you want to add about this pipe?
No, not really. I do really like cart. I mean, it is.
Who should pull on this pipe?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a difficult one, right? I would say if the Rose Parasol and Rose Taxi are good for your account because they do have some useful coverage. If those would give you some significant upgrades or past upgrades, then you're looking at 3 out of the 9 items being useful for your account. So then, yeah, then it's maybe a pull. I mean, otherwise it's just get the spotlight and get out. Yeah. Which is easier to do in a special pipe.
You know, it is, a 50 pipe isn't as great as a 30 pipe. We haven't seen a 30 pipe in a while, though. So, I'm going to be getting that card and getting out, but I'm going to be doing it with my eyes closed. I'm not going to be enjoying that at all. As for the packs, right? So this week we have the 8-bit Fireflower, an absolute stud pack. It's a great glider. Now I think, gliders in a 45 ruby pack are typically don't bring as much bang for your buck compared to a driver in that pack. When you think about what's a driver worth to a glider. This is an absolutely phenomenal glider. One well worth getting if you absolutely need the rubies. And then this 45 ruby, or this 90 ruby pack this week is a whale pack. No one should be getting this unless they are a true whale. If you are getting it and you're like, oh, I really like baseball items, totally cool. But these are not useful items by any means. But for the whales, the reason I call it a whale pack is because whales most likely do not have either of these items at level 7. So they might buy this 3 times and still have it at level 3 or 4. So that's who's going to get that pack. As for next week, Mario Swimwear, a very unique driver in that he's got the dash ring. I think it was our last dash ring high-end driver that we've had, even though we've Sammy mentioned in his reaction video, it's like we've guessed dash ring 17. Actually, no, I think one of the Toad Penguin or whatever has it, but we've guessed so many times people are going to have dash ring. Kamek being the most notable and been absolutely wrong. We thought even Charging Chucku makes sense to have dash ring because he's dashing. They got the 40-yard dash, etc. Definitely a nah pack for me, bro. Not a good pack necessarily. We're not worth that type of investment. And then I put a studish on the Triple Banana Daisy swimwear. I like Triple Bananas. I know you're not as big of a fan, but I don't mind her. I don't know much about her coverage, so I'm not going to speak to it at all. But the Sunny Surf Sailor, big hitbox, unique looking and feeling cart, but I don't think either one of these items many will have at level 7. So I think this is a not bad pack if you're whale, dolphin, even Gold Pass Plus and having to pick between 290 packs. I don't mind that pack. I think it's I don't think it's not bad. What do you think about the packs?
I think there's one clear sort of winner here, which is the 8-bit Fireflower. For me, it's one of the best gliders in the game. I've mentioned it before, but I base my triple cap glider strategy starting with the 8-bit Fireflower because it has the best combination for me of coverage and also paywalls, the lack of overlap with other gliders. So if you don't have it, get it. Mine is level 7, so I will not be buying this. That for me is really the only pack worth buying. As you say, Mario Baseball and the home field glider. Yeah, I mean Mario Baseball has got, I think, it's got a pretty amount of tracks. I think 22 or 23 non-cities. So he's got the coverage, but it just his window of opportunity, I would say, for being ranked a lot is past. And he doesn't have a good skill to keep him on top. So yeah, not so interesting. Mario Swimwear, yeah, kind of totally underwhelming. The other 90 Ruby pack, it's maybe a little bit interesting. Daisy Swimmer, she's one of these drivers that came out recently, and she was pretty meta for a while. And she's got a Triple Bananas, which I mean a lot of people really like it. I don't think it's really any better than going for Coin Frenzies, but from a scoring perspective, but it is fun to play with. She suffers from what a lot of drivers suffer from is she has a lot of coin box overlap. She has 19 non-city tracks. 13 of those have a coin box on them, so she doesn't have that much useful coverage, shall I say. And the Sunny Surf Sailor is like a decent card, but it has a very large hitbox, but it also has a strange shape. So I don't have it, so I cannot say what it's like to race with it. But other people have said that it feels a bit awkward to race with. If you look at the bottom, I think the clear the best thing to get actually in this tour is the premium challenge, because it's for $5 whatever. The Sunset Balloons is really a top tier glider, and you get all the other stuff that go along with it. And the commemorative one is just as you say. I mean, I just totally agree with what you say there.
Yeah, I think this is this the third time it's been a commemorative pack?
It's possible. I don't know.
I have it at 4.5. I'm like, why do I have this at 4.5?
It must have been then. 4.5 is.
I feel like it has. Either way, shout out to Hydra. We asked if he wanted us to include his name or not. He did. We did get his approval, but he did some data mining and found out that there is a week 2 tier shop, and here's what it looks like. You get the Super Driver, the Red Yoshi. You have the Macaroon, the strawberry flavored one, and then you have the Super. So some of these items are a little bit more old, but these will be in your tier shop next week. This was a nice little find as Antilev and Hydra was going through the data, and as Antilev was steering him around, asking him to poke around, uncovered this on the way out. It might have even been more revealing to a certain extent as well. So thanks Hydra for finding that. Is there anything you want to say about this?
No, I mean, it's nice to know a little bit. It's not the most impressive shop we've ever had. We've seen these items quite a few times before, but it's nice to know that we'll be able to get a sneak peek of what's coming. And if you can, if you're a low spender or you don't have a lot of coins or kind of restricted, you can make a better plan then.
Yeah, Hydra's been the MVP here lately. Definitely check out his channel. He's been awesome to have on our side. I'm glad he's on our side. Let's put it that way.
Cleanup hitter. Sorry, the cleanup hitter came back in Anniversary 2 again so this is the third time we are seeing it as a commemorative card. So if you buy all 3 now, you will have it almost level 6, I think. So
what is that?
Bought them all before.
$4 times 9 is
times 9. Yeah, it's crazy.
So for what was it, $36 or whatever, you could have it at level 6. Yeah, interesting there. Good fun fact. I will say this Daisy Swimwear, this is the second time we've had her in a 90 pack. She was in a 90 pack. I forget if it was last tour or the tour before. Interesting there. Kind of keep her paywalled. Kind of reminds me of like Daisy Holiday Cheer, where she was in a pipe, for the holidays. Year came around and they put her back into a 90 pack, and so many people didn't get her, but Wales had her. So it's interesting that they've done this kind of with a second Daisy, but it is certainly interesting, worth making note of. As for the drivers who got buffed, so drivers, some decent buffs here. You have to remember it's a city tour, so anything you see in red, it's a city track. But we'll start with the 3 drivers that got 3 new tracks. So Catalina, she's got 15 non-city tracks, 3 cities, thanks to this LA Labs 2T. She also gets Rosalina Ice World RT and TK Summit R. Now Meowser gets his first 2 cities, this LA Labs 2 and 3, both R versions for those 2 tracks, up to 13 non-city tracks and 2 cities. I'm sorry, Rosalina has just 1 city. I made a mistake there. Penguin Toadette got 1 city added to her 2, so it is 3 total cities, 16 non-cities. So I think the biggest one to take note of is Meowser, and I think we were kind of hoping he came through another city tour unscathed, but he did get 2 cities there. As for the 3 drivers, they got 2 buffs. We got Luigi Vacation, unfortunately, getting probably the lowest end of the stick here with his 2 new tracks being both cities, LA Labs 2R and LA Labs 3. So he's got 7 non-city tracks, 6 cities. Nearly half of his tracks are cities already, and he just came out. We got the light blue Toad, the pit crew. He's got 11 non-city tracks, 1 city. Nice to see that there. It's not a great skill, but he's, to only have 1 city, it's pretty nice. He got 2 buffs, neither of them cities. I think Luigi Vacation will be a little jealous of that. Then we got the Purple Koopa free running. He's got 0 cities, and he's got 9 non-cities. So good for him there. The number of drivers with 1 buff. And so I think some of the most notable, we got Donkey Kong Jr. SNES, as you're well aware of. Got a nice little ranked track here. It's a city buff, but it's a ranked city buff. So you're okay with it, guys. You got 22 non-city tracks, 14 cities for a total of 36 tracks. Phenomenal for our little SNES boy, man. He's been given a wild ride by Nintendo. We also have 2 coin box drivers here, given 1 buff. We got Kamek with the LA Laps 3T, and then we have King Babam Gold with LA Laps L2, which is a ranked track. So happy about that. Kamek with 21 non-city tracks, 8 cities. King Babam Gold with 21 non-city tracks, 5 cities. Nothing really too else to make note of except for Peach Happy got a new city, so she's got 20 non-city tracks, 10 cities. She's number 3 on our list. We got Yoshi Kangaroo with 22 non-city tracks, 12 cities. Still our number 1 driver in the game. Then we got Tanuki Rosalina with 23 non-city tracks, 3 cities. Waluigi Vampire with 22 non-city tracks, 5 cities. And then a couple super buffs. So I think the most notable being Yellow Pit Crew Toad, still 0 cities and 17 non-city tracks. So gotta love that from our giant banana super king here. Angelita, what are your thoughts about the drivers that just got buffed?
So one thing that's really interesting about this tour for the drivers buffs, there are only 5 buffs in total that are on non-city tracks for high ends for returning drivers. There are 6 buffs for supers on returning tracks that are non-cities. So actually, supers on the whole got buffed more than high ends in this tour. If you don't look at the city buffs, this tour is really light on like meaningful buffs when we talk about what is going to change the meta, what is going to change the value. With cars and gliders, it's a little bit more interesting. Not that much more. Meowser's buff, he got able 3-way T, so it's an awesome track. The coin box, it is an exclusive of Santa Bowser, so he loses one of his 8 exclusives. He still by far got the most, and so it's a kind of nice buff for Meowser, but it's not like a spectacular one. You're looking at the supers. I think one driver that's really interesting here is the Purple Koopa or Koopa. He got 2 really solid buffs: Rosarina's Ice World RT, which is like pretty paywalled, and DK Summit T as well, which used to be really paywalled. It's not that much anymore, but still not the easiest track to cover. Going a little bit further, it's nice to see a light blue Pit Crew Toad getting a couple of buffs. A lot of the ice-themed items in this tour got buffed because the only track that we haven't seen in a long time that come back is the Frappe Snowland. So he got 2 of those. Bluebirdo got 1 of those. And then Yellow Pit Crew Toad, he got Mario Circuit 3, which is a coin box track, but there's only 1 coin box driver, which is Peach Vacation. So for example, on my free-to-play account, I will absolutely be using him there because I don't have her on that track. So, and I think a lot of people with the lower accounts maybe don't have a Peach Vacation at a high level, so that's a very nice buff for him, for those people.
Yeah, all solid points there. Going into the carts that got buffed, one to make note of, they got 3 buffs, and that is the White Snow Skimmer with 15 non-city tracks, 3 cities. I'm going to move on. We got a number of carts with 2 buffs there. We got the Frostwing, 16 non-city tracks, 2 cities there. The Frosty Bells, same number there, 16 and 2. We got the Gray Cat Cruiser, 12 non-city tracks, 2 cities. The Jukebox Buggy, 10 non-city tracks, 3 cities. The Roaring Racer, the Merlion, 8 non-city tracks, 4 cities. It's a lot of cities for a new cart there. Sleigh Rider, 12 non-city tracks, 3 cities. The Sports Coupe 2022 with 12 non-cities, 1 city. your boy, the King, the Tiger King. Tiger Bruiser. 11 non-cities, 2 cities there. And then a number of carts with 1 buff. Black Hat Cruiser with 18 on-city tracks, 11 cities. Brown Off-Roader, giant hitbox. Not a huge number of tracks, but that's okay. Only 2 cities for it, so that's interesting to keep note of. 17 non-city tracks. The Cactar went up on our list and now has 21 non-city tracks, 3 cities. It's a really, really good card. We'll get into the top 10. Candy Clown, 16 non-city tracks, 1 city. The Cheap Snorkel, 4 cities, 18 non-cities. We have the Cheer Ship. So again, some smaller hitboxes there. I'll kind of breeze through those. We got some Mark IIs that I'll kind of mention here. The Karim with 13 on-city tracks, 9 cities. The Green with 14 and 9 cities as well. I'll say the Red B-Dasher. It's got 10 cities, 13 non-cities. And the Sky Blue B-Dasher with 14 non-city tracks, 10 cities. It kind of wraps up the Mark IIs. It seems like they're getting a lot of city buffs in general. Some of them even up to double digits, nearly 40% of its total tracks, which is, I think we were wondering how it was going to pan out. We're starting to get a little bit better view of that. And then to kind of some of the more notable ones. We obviously Chemek's Zoom Broom being a really, really notable one with 20 non-city tracks, 8 cities, and it looks like that's our number 1 cart. Is that true, or is that... I'm not sure if that's true.
No, I think these numbers were filled in before that. Silver King is still number 1, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, I think you're right, too.
Yeah.
Lime T Group, number 12 on our list, with 16 non-city tracks, 15 cities. That is so many cities for this Lime T Group. I'm really glad you talked Carlos away from investing in that. That was a close call. Rose Taxi, 20 non-city tracks, 7 cities there. Secure Quick Shot, 22 non-city tracks, 5 cities. I would say nothing really to really write home about across the board. Really, some of these last ones aren't that great. I'm thinking like the Star Spangled Flyer, the Sushi Racer, poor guys, and then the Surf Sailor. In case you're wondering, we talked about it a little bit earlier. This Sunny Surf Sailor does have 14 non-city tracks, 9 cities. They surprisingly with that and the Surf Sailor do have slightly different size. I believe the wheels on the Sunny Surf Sailor are just slightly larger.
Yes.
Not by much though. What are your thoughts on these carts that got buffed?
So this looks like a lot of buffs, but again, they're mostly cities on either the returning LA Labs 3 tracks or the new LA Labs 2. There are only 14 buffs in total on returning tracks on existing high-end carts. And most of them are Frappe Snowland. I think out of the 7 carts, only 7 carts in this whole list got actual useful buffs. And 5 of the 7 have a Frappe buff. Some interesting ones. The White Snow Skimmer is the only one to get 3, and those are all 3 non-city buffs. Got Frappe R and T and DK Summit N. This track is still all the way down at number 71 on the rankings. This also goes to show the importance of having a strong start. It had a terrible start, I think, with only like 3 non-city tracks to start out with, so it's just had really huge, even though it's gotten some great buffs, it's just had such a bad start to overcome, and you can see that it reflected in its ranking. Only 2 other cards had 2 buffs that were both non-cities. The Frostwing, which is up to a respectable 16 now, that got Frappe N and Rosaline's Ice World RT, and Frosty Bells, which got actually the exact same 2 buffs. Other than that, the Tiger Bruiser got Maple Treeway R, which is in ranked second week, and it is a pretty annoying top shelf to cover with carts. I think I was using like the Southern Side Cloud or something there before, so actually that is quite a useful buff. Something else out of these buffs, I think Rosalina's Ice World RT got 3 new top shelf tracks, so that's Frostwing, Frosty Bells, and the Grey Cat Cruiser.
Yeah, I love the Frostwing. Absolutely love it.
Gorgeous.
Coming from that special pipe, man, there's something about the special pipes. They always bring the value. If you have to invest in one, it's the Frostwing for me. I have a level 7. I'm wondering about double uncapping it, and I know it's a really awesome looking cart. I don't know.
I double capped it on my free to play account.
Did you? Wow. Wow, that's bold. I like
It
it.
is.
I like it. All right, we'll get into gliders now. A decent, I'd say much more interesting buffs here for the gliders. When you think about some of these new gliders, some of these gliders that are coin, you got some interesting stuff going on, so we'll get into it. The Aurora balloons got 3. Really, we have 5 gliders that got 3 buffs, and I think all 5 of these are interesting to me. The Aurora balloons, I've been kind of waiting to see what I'm going to do when it comes to investing in a glider for Warrior Shipyard. 3 buffs for Aurora balloons is up to 15 non-city tracks, 3 cities. Candlelight Flight, 16 non-city tracks, 4 cities. Glittering Parasoil, 10 non-city tracks, 3 cities. Brand new glider coming out of a special pipe. I really like how those typically start out. We have the Gold Toe Beam balloons, the coin glider, 10 non-city tracks, 3 cities. We got the Golden Wings, an absolute baller glider that definitely is worth investing in. 21 non-city tracks, 5 cities. Absolutely love it. Number 3 on our list. Then we have a number of gliders that got 2 buffs. We got the Black Cat Parafoil with 13 non-city tracks, 2 cities. The Home Field glider, 16 non-city tracks, 14 cities. Holy moly. Up there with the Polka Dot Manta glider as the top in this entire list. Luigi Parafoil, 3 cities, 8 non-city tracks. New Year's 2020, 12 non-city tracks, 2 cities. We talked about a little bit earlier, the Springtime Crane, now in the 100 pipe as a non-permanent item. 22 non-city tracks, 11 cities. A little high on the cities, but you got 22 non-city tracks, so you're not complaining. And then these 2 mustaches, these creepy looking balloon-style mustaches, 7 and 2 cities for both, I believe. I see a correction here, maybe for Wario Mustache. Not sure why it says 12. I don't think it's 12. I think it's 2C. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so you're kind of wondering to see which one of these 2 balloons we're going to take off. They're nearly neck and neck.
Not this tour.
Not
they
this
both
tour.
got 2 city buffs. So.
I want to say neck and neck, but that seems like a body joke that I don't want to make. And then we have a number of gliders get 1 buff. We talked about it before, the 8-bit Fireflower, an awesome glider, 25 non-city tracks, 8 cities. We have the 8-bit Super Mushroom, 21 non-city tracks, 1 city. The Cat Parafoil, 12 non-city tracks, 1 city. I'll kind of skim over it. I will say the Galaxy Glider, I'm a big fan of. It's been kind of slow here recently. It's been in a lot of ranked. But 16 non-city tracks, 1 city for the Galaxy Glider. Kind of skimming around. Gold Home Field Glider, you would have kind of expected it to get above this tour with it coming out of LA. But it's got 16 non-city tracks, 10 cities. Gold Tanuki Parafoil, 16 non-city tracks, 1 city. Gold Penguin with 9 and 2. Magic Parasol. I know you like the Parasol family. They're Antilev. It's got 19 non-city tracks, 6 cities there. Kind of skimming around. Ship's Wheel with 20 non-city tracks, 11 cities. You like that? Number 5 on our list. Silver Surf Master, 19 non-city tracks, 13 cities. You gotta love that. And then the Starry Great Sail. Many people have been loving this glider. Number 7 on our list with 22 non-city tracks, 10 cities. And then the Yukata Ribbon. My least favorite looking glider, 18 non-city tracks, 9 cities. What are your thoughts on these gliders that got buffed?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how it is with the cards. Like the vast majority of these buffs are city buffs, and they're not going to have big impact on the rankings. Only 2 items in the whole list that have 2 or more non-city buffs. That is the Aurora Balloons and the Glittering Parasol. Aurora Balloons got DK Summit N and Frappe Snowland N. And the Glittering Parasol got Frappe R and Rosalina's Ice World RT. The Candlelight Flight, the Gold Toe Beam Balloons, and Golden Wings all got 3 buffs, but at least 2 of them on each one are city buffs, so it's not really that impressive. Other than that, the 8-bit Super Mushroom still got a nice buff there. Mario Circuit 3T. The Galaxy Glider got Frappe Snowland R. That's a really nice one. The Golden Wings going really strong. Even though it got 2 cities, it did get 1 non-city, which is a Frappe T. I mean, it's like I said, this tour is really light on buffs, so there's not a whole lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, plus a lot of the tracks that we have this tour are the same tracks from last tour.
Yes. So like, I mean, most of, like I said before, most of the buffs are coming from Frappe on the newer items, because we haven't seen it for a long time. But most of the tracks we have seen pretty recently. And Mario Circuit 3 a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get Bowser's Castle for the 4th time. This has been kind of a trend. I mean, I'm sure we might even see Wario Shipyard. I mean, the way I see it, and here's just kind of one tea leaf I'm seeing. Bowser's Castle, right? They had 3 tours in a row. Its initial tour and then 2 following. Is that correct?
Yes.
I wonder if Wario Shipyard is going to be kind of a similar state, where maybe next tour they'll have Wario Shipyard again. So it makes me wonder. I've been kind of delaying investing in a glider for, I believe it's the R, whatever was in ranked last week.
The
T. There you go. I'm wondering if I should finally, pull the trigger on something, because I might be using it next tour too. I don't know.
I gambled on a mustache.
Yeah. You went. Which one did you go on?
The Waluigi mustache. I mean, the Wario mustache had a better start because I had all those Bowser Castle tracks, but because I have a maxed out Tiger Bruiser, the Waluigi mustache was more interesting for me. It gave me 5 upgrades, or 4 upgrades right away if I put it to level 7, and only single capped it already. So I mean, it's a gamble, but it is a calculated risk.
Yeah, I don't think the coverage on either one isn't bad. I will say I know I had a number of people in my server, specifically I think Reddy and KnightRoso, invested pretty heavily in the Wario mustache. But yeah, we'll see what happens from those. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm probably not gonna pull the trigger, to be honest with you. We'll see how it goes. We do have the top 10 algorithm. I won't say too much except for, as of right now, we are still looking for a volunteer to handle the hitbox size. So all carts that we have the hitbox for will retain that percentage, and for the new carts, not that they're going to be in our top 10 or anything, but just to let you know that they will be 33, and 33% for all 3 of the categories outside, since their skill is 0%.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
What we did for this week is, I have a rating of card sizes, which doesn't rate them like pixel by pixel, but puts them into sort of categories, and we used that just so we didn't have to eliminate the card size component completely. So what you see on the screen that is the old algorithm for cards. That's not exactly how it is right now. We used modified card size rankings and lowered the size component down to 15%, and bumped up the coverage components. So if we find someone who can take care of the work that Curtis was doing, we'll, I think, refer to this algorithm. Otherwise, we'll see.
Okay. We'll have to update that before we post this to Reddit.
For sure.
As for the top 10 drivers, we still have Kangaroo Yoshi at number 1. You gotta like that. Kamek still coming up and creeping on his spot that he feels like he rightly deserves. We'll see what happens. These two might be neck and neck. The way that Bobby and Ninja were going at it earlier in the year, we might have kind of a similar situation there. Peach Happy holding down number 3. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, but I can't fight it. I did double uncap her after, I think, 6 months of her being released, because she gave me 1 or 2 more tracks. But really, she hasn't been very, very useful to me in my account. But you gotta love her skill. She looks awesome too. You got Tanuki Rosalina up 2 spots to number 4. She's been slowly climbing. Biller Toadette still hanging on into the top 5. Then you have Penguin Mario, who's fallen quite a bit this tour, down 4 spots to number 6. Waluigi Vampire up 1 spot. He seems to be slowly climbing. He's got this skill that seems to have a pretty good pedigree in this top 10 list. We have Birdo Black down 1 spot. The DK Jr. SNES, I think he was our winner of the Comeback Driver of the Year last year, seems to still be climbing. Geez, it's been, 16 months since he's been released? How crazy is that? Still climbing like his time has not come yet. Peach Explorer still holding on to the top 10 spot as well at number 10. Then to round out the top 15, we have Mario Salaview, Luigi Painter, King Babam Gold, Shy Guy Ninja, and Dry Bones Gold. It's crazy to see Dry Bones Gold still in our top 15 after all this time. Former number one, at the very beginning of when we started doing this. But what are your thoughts on the top 10 drivers, Antilev?
Yeah, a couple of things. Like the general theme for the top 10 across all three categories is going to be stability in this tour, just because of the lack of buffs. You don't see really big risers, and the changes in position are going to be mostly caused by changes in their rating. So, like, let's start with Penguin Mario, who fell 4 spots, the biggest mover. This is really a case of him, slipping. He was the number 1 ranked driver before, with the number 1 most ranked appearances, and he's fallen to number 5. And since that was carrying him, it also means he fell down a few spots. Kamek rose 2. It's not really because he got buffed or he's in ranked or anything. It's more a case of the drivers below him losing their ranks. So that was Penguin Mario, I think, at 3, and Peach Happy at 2. She also, her ranked rating slipped a bit as well. So yeah, he got kind of an addition by subtraction there. So there's not a lot to say about the rest of the top 10, but there's a couple of interesting things on the 11 to 15. King Bobom Gold jumps up quite a few spots, I think 5 spots or something like that. Into the top 15. He's in ranked week 2, and so his ranked rating goes up from 63 to 51, so that is driving his rise. Teleview as well, from 9th to 6th in ranked appearances. He's really good. He's got 19 non-city tracks, 11 which are non-coin boxed. And then finally Ninja, who fell out of the top 10. I know I said before I didn't think it was going to happen, but he fell from 49th to 77th in ranked appearance. He has completely disappeared from ranked. Still amazing coverage, arguably the best driver, combination of coverage and skill in the game. I still think he's the best ACR driver, but he's just completely disappeared from ranked.
When was the last, I'm curious, maybe you can look this up while I go over the carts, but when was the last time he was in ranked?
Let me check the.
I feel like it was in Tokyo. To be honest with you,
it's been a long time. Yeah,
dude, how crazy is that?
Yeah,
but yeah, he's got great coverage, and you love everything about him. But man, it's been rough for him. I will say, Mario Saddle View. I think we are coming up upon his ascension. I see him going up 2 or 3 spots every single tour for the next 2 or 3 tours, until he probably caps off right there where Peach Happy is, kind of in that 2-3-4 spot. I don't see him as maybe a number 1 driver, but he's by far seems to be the most valuable Mario right now, in my opinion.
Okay, so Saga Ninja, in the window which we use, which is going back to the Kamek Tour, he has been in ranked a grand total of 2 times. He was once in the New Year's 2022 tour, in the Singapore tour, in fact, he was. So that is actually relatively recent.
Yeah.
But before that, he was only once in the Space Tour. And other than that, he has not been there in the last 13 tours. Only 2 ranked appearances.
Yeah, so this is where, if you really care about some of the ranked value that we give to these drivers, feel free to take a look at that. As always, these drivers, we could put just Coinboxers on this list because Coinbox is king, and the Coinbox drivers are some of the most valuable to invest in. But I think, taking into consideration ranked, taking into consideration when Nintendo seems to be kind of putting these guys and putting them on the stage, that is one of the reasons why we have these drivers on this list, and don't keep it monotonous with just Coinboxers every single week. So the algorithm, definitely take a look at that. We got weighted coverage, certain coverage there that you can look at and say, yeah, that makes sense for me or not. Moving into carts, we got Silver King still number 1, man. He is absolutely crushing it. When we did the cart meta trifecta, we saw that there are 10 of the 27 assumed tracks that it has coverage on. It is absolutely a beast. Rounding out the top 5, we have Kamek's Zoom Broom up 1 spot, Cactarwa up 1 spot to number 2 and 3 respectively. The Vampire Flyer had fallen 2 spots. That's okay. That's okay, guys. It's okay. It is number 4 on our list right now. We'll see what happens. And then we have the Yellow Off-Roader up 1 spot to number 5. So, when we talk about the kart meta trifecta, 3 of the top 5 are worth investing in to get 21 tracks of the 27 assumed. I'll probably say that one more time before we end this video. We did look at it. The Cactar doesn't really add too much. I think it adds like 1 or 2 tracks. Definitely check out that video if you want to find out more about it. But it has a lot of overlap with all 3, but it doesn't necessarily pair well with other 2. So just kind of keep that in the back of the mind. Almost think of that as a meta light. If you can't invest in all 3, maybe you invest in that one instead and try to kind of get a little bit of those 3's coverage. Romney Runner, a wonderful card at one point in time. It is starting to fall. It has been falling a little bit, and I think it'll continue to fall. Its time has come, and unfortunately it's gone, but it's still got great coverage. So for all cup rankings, still a beast card, and there's no doubt about it. But when it comes to being very involved and getting new tracks, it's just not happening for it. We do have the gold pumpkin cart, which is probably the most valuable cart except for one category, and that is its size. It is teeny tiny, itty bitty. What category do you have it in, by the way?
Well, when I made these buckets, everything that's below average is just small. So it's not like, using a Prancer gives you an advantage over using like a Cheer Mellow or something. They're all just crappy tiny carts. So it is a small, actually, it's not reflected here, but its raw score went up because it gets a bump from the algorithm change. It goes from, I think, 189th was what its size ranking was previously out of 196 cards, to like a 140, which is the generic ranking for all small cards and things. So yeah, that actually benefited.
There was like 2 seconds where we thought, just let's get rid of all the hitbox, category entirely, which I panicked. I was like, this is not good, because I think it's probably the most valuable, piece of information about these cards is its hitbox, because that could mean thousands of points difference by having a larger hitbox. Definitely check out the hitbox video if you haven't seen it already. But there was a second there where we didn't have the hitbox. We decided what would happen if we removed that category entirely. Gold Pumpkin Cart quickly rose to the top. It was the number 1 cart if that was specifically were to happen. But guys, we're not going to let that happen, guys. Hitbox is too important of a category to let that go by. Black Cat Cruiser, similar category, though, in that it's got some decent coverage, just not a great hitbox. It's up 4 spots to number 8. And then we have the Tanuki cart, the cart that you are dying to invest in, down 1 spot to number 9. And then Painter at number 10, holding that down from last tour. And then rounding out the top 15, we got Rose Taxi, Black Turbo Birdo, Sakura Quickshaw, Crawley Cart, and Iron Cucumber. Everything except for, I'd say the Black Turbo Birdo, Sakura Quickshaw, and Crawley Cart. Former wonderful carts that have been really high on our list have now fallen. Iron Cucumber, sneaky there. Maybe you have some information as to how that got into our top 15. But what are your thoughts on the top 10 carts?
So a couple of things. Like I already mentioned, the Gold Pumpkin card getting that kind of benefit from the algorithm, which is not reflected here, but the raw score did go up significantly. It just happened to not sort of leapfrog any other cards. Cactar and Vampire Flyer and Kamek Zumbrum, they're all pretty close in raw score. It's just, I think, is just on the basis of like Cactar getting a city buff and Vampire Flyer not, or something, that they barely shifted, but it was enough to shake it up. So it's not like Vampire Flyer got a lot worse. The Vampire Flyer, the coverage ranking did go down a little bit relatively. It's now 30th for course coverage value, raw coverage, and 40th in weighted coverage. So it's still a bit of a laggard, I would say, compared to the rest of the top 10 as far as coverage goes, but it's got the ranked appearances, and it's got the hitbox, and it's got really relevant coverage, as you saw in that video. Me and Studfit went over the 3 map cards right now, and it's definitely one of those. Black Cat Cruiser rose 4 spots. That has to do with coverage improvement. It goes from the 32nd to 14th in weighted coverage value. And then finally, the Tanuki card fell. So it's funny that you said I'm dying to invest in it, but I'm actually kind of starting to reconsider that, because the last couple of tours, it has not gotten the buffs that I would hope. It still has a few tracks to see, so we'll see it coming up if it gets more, but it's not getting ranked much, and it hasn't gotten buffed meaningfully in the last couple of tours. tours. So its ranked rating went from 19th down to 25th. Its weighted coverage value went from 13th down to 21st, so that is driving a little bit of a drum for this Tanuki card. As far as Iron Cucumber goes, I didn't look into that one. It has a lot of cities, it's a lot of tracks in general. It's been in ranked pretty consistently. It's only missed out of the last 7 tours, it's only missed 2 tours of ranked.
Wow.
So it does get it ranked like pretty a lot, and it's a relatively big card, mostly due to its length rather than its width, but it is a decent card to coin box with.
Yeah, it's definitely sneaky. It looks very slender, but it's pretty beefy if you think of, the wheels are not huge and it's not super wide, but like it's a pretty decent size big cart. All right, so I'm gonna give you a question, Antilev. Let's say you have these 2 carts, and you have them at level 1, and you happen to have 14 tickets, and you gun to your head, you have to invest in them. Tanuki cart or Vampire Flyer? You know that I love the Vampire Flyer. You had been fighting it for a while, and then it looked like last week that it was going to be a monster, and we brought it up in the trifecta, but it looks like it slipped a little bit here. But then they both slipped. So which one would you have to pull if you absolutely had to invest in one of the 2 for your account? Which one would you do?
For my account, that's absolutely Tanuki card. But I mean, also neutrally, it's. I think it just comes down to what do you prioritize more? Do you prioritize hitbox and ranked appearances, or do you prioritize just coverage? Because Tanuki cart has 22 non-city tracks and Vampire Flyer only has 17. That is a pretty big difference. If you're gonna, and if you're talking about like a fresh account, that 5-track difference is pretty significant. But we also saw how Vampire Flyer fills a lot of the gaps on the new. There's a reason why it's in ranked so much. It's got all the coverage on these new really hard paywall tracks. So yeah, if you ask me, I'd go for the Tanuki card. But I mean, I actually don't really pay that much attention to ranked,
Sure.
So that's I'm focused mainly on ACR. So that's how I'd answer that question. But I mean, there is a good case to be made for both of them.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot there. I just thought that'd be a fun little question there. All right, moving into gliders. The top 5, no change. We have Dream Glider, Silver Surfmaster, Golden Wings, 8-Bit Fireflower, Ship's Wheel. Just take whatever I said in the last rundown and just copy and paste into this section. They're all awesome gliders. Really, all 5 of these are really, really good. Maybe Antilev, you could tell me kind of, based on the score, are they all neck and neck, or is there a pretty wide gap between 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4, etc.? But these are 5 awesome gliders to invest in. Springtime Crane, as we mentioned, a little bit harder to get, but it is up 1 spot to number 6. It used to be in our top 5. It's been in top 10 for a while here. Stargrade Sale, it's been very useful for a lot of people for ranked and whatnot. It's up 1 spot to number 7. That Great Sale, a former number 1 for a long, long time, really glider of the year from our awards ceremony that many of you guys voted on, is down 2 spots to number 8. We have the Magic Parasol up 7 spots. Huge jump there to number 9. And then the 8-Bit Super Mushroom up 3 spots to number 10. Really cool to see it in the top 10. We talked about it a lot last tour as one that's definitely worth investing in, especially when you had to make a decision for Wario Shipyard. Then we're looking at the rest of our top 15. They're just on the outside looking in. Black Toby and Balloons, former top 10, number 11 on our list. 8-Bit Bullet Bill, number 12. Yukata Ribbon, number 13. Glinting Glider, number 14. And Vampire Wings at number 15. Antilev, what are your thoughts on the top 10 gliders and anything you can provide in the way of insight on those top 5?
Yeah, so there's 2 groupings here. There's the top 3 and then 4 and 5. And the funny thing is, last week there was the top 2. Dream Glider and Silver Surfmaster were in a class by themselves, and then there were 3. But Golden Wings actually got a pretty significant all-around bump. It went up 1 spot in the ranked ratings. It went up 3 spots in the raw coverage and 3 spots in the weighted coverage due to the nice buff it got this tour. So those top 3 are all pretty close. And then 8-Bit Fireflower and Ship's Wheel are also pretty close. They just 8-Bit Fireflower is a little bit lower on ranked appearances, and Ship's Wheel is a little bit weak on coverage. It's 15th in weighted and raw coverage both. Moving on, that Magic Parasol jump is a bit of misleading, I would say, because all of the gliders underneath it are very tightly grouped. So it didn't even really get a buff. It got a city buff, so it didn't improve its coverage score really. Its ranked score went up from 19th to 12th, so that's kind of driving it. It's one city buff, and then the fact that all the gliders below are pretty tightly scored together. 8-Bit Super Mushroom is kind of a rising star right now. That got a nice buff. It's up to 9th from 14th to 9th in raw coverage. And then finally, the Vampire Wings fell a few spots. I think it was top 10 last week or maybe 11, not sure. It's down to 45th in weighted coverage, which is not good. And it's losing its ranked ranking. It went from 6th down to 9th. So I guess that one was being carried more by its ranked. Nothing else, I think.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. Not a lot of movement in the top 5, but
no.
Magic Parasol, nice to see it move up a little bit. Talking about moving up, we'll talk about the top movers and shakers. Some decent movement from some of the drivers. It's interesting to see Lakitu Party Time go up. He's now number 28 on our list. And then King Bob Goal, as we talked about briefly in the top 15, up to number 13. Former number 1 driver in the game. I would say none of these drivers really are worth mentioning too much. Daisy Swimwear is number 22 on our list. I wonder if she'll get the DK Super NES treatment and somehow be really powerful in 2023. We'll see what happens there. Yellow Picker Toad up to 61, and that's kind of really it for drivers. As for karts, the Great Cat Cruiser went up pretty significantly, up 31 spots to number 68, so it's not super high yet, but that's a big jump for a relatively new kart. So he's nothing really jumping out excessively. The Lime Tea Coupe went up to number 22 on the list, up 12 spots. The Sleigh Rider went up 27 spots to 61, but Jukebox Buggy, I know ThisBeChris invested pretty heavily in him, up 24 spots to 69. Not a big, I wouldn't say too many movers and shakers worth mentioning for the karts. But for gliders, Gold Toe Beam Balloons had the biggest jump, 22 spots to number 68. Big jump there. Just kind of scrolling down, the Aurora Balloons, number 25 on our list, up 13 spots. The Candlelight Flight, number 19 on our list, up 12 spots. Galaxy Glider, up 8 spots to number 36. Those are the ones I would want to point out. But Antilev, any that you would want to kind of put a light on?
Yeah, no, that's more or less. I feel kind of the same. It's really the ones that got the meaningful non-city buffs, which you see moving a lot here. So I think Aurora Balloons probably got the strongest buffs out of all the gliders. Candlelight Flight had a nice one buff. So those are two nice jumps, ones to keep an eye on. Maybe they'll be cracking the top 15, top 10 pretty soon. The one that just missed the cut on the carts is the Jade Hot Rod. It went up 9 spots. It's an interesting cart because it's ranked 26th overall, but it's 7th in raw coverage. So if you were an ACR person, the Jade Hot Rod is actually a super underrated cart. I think that was just an interesting one. And there's also a couple of carts which fell some spots. The Ice Dozer is down 24 spots from 67th, from 43 to 67th. Rest in peace, Ice Dozer. Cat Toad fell out of the top 15. It's not directed at you, man. It's just in general,
That's a crazy drop.
Cat Toad, this has also not been a good tour for Toads. Cat Toad fell down 5 spots to 18. He's out of the top 15. Penguin Toad fell down 8 spots to 31st.
Unbelievable, man. Here, I was going to ask this question earlier. I wasn't sure if it was a great time, but we know next door is Sky Tour. Mm-hmm. Do you anticipate anything? Can we? I know we'll probably see next week the tour reveal, but any guesses on who's going to get maybe Lakitu Party Time or maybe the Aurora Balloons? Do you think these cloud-looking things could get buffed?
Yeah, I could see all of the cloud themey stuff, or anything with like wings or flying, sky stuff, getting buffed for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if that's one of the reasons why they give us the sunset balloons for the premium challenge. I'm wondering maybe if that's even more valuable than we have thought. Maybe it gets buffed next tour. So premium challenge might be even a little bit more valuable. I don't know. That would be really cool if they had a track with just like Aurora balloons and sunset balloons and like I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Maybe the dragon wings and vampire wings and I don't know. Like that would be, but butterfly sunset. Like it would be cool to see like a lot of sky type stuff, and that's it. Like no candlelight flight, no like other stuff, but just like keep it true to the theme.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah. All right, sorry, wild tangent there. Back on track. We got the All Cup ranking MVPs. We have Charging Chuck leading the way with 11. Good for him, man. Then we have Mario Golf at 10, along with the Cholesterol Cruiser and the Wild Slugger with 10. And then we get into 9 items. We have the Luigi Golf, the Mario Baseball, and DKSNES Junior. All 9 spots there for All Cup ranking. These are the number of tracks that these items are used out of the 36. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And then these 3 new carts. Really, all 5 new carts are used at least 9 times in All Cup ranking. So, I mean, I don't think anyone really wants, especially with the shop being shut down, kind of, or at least nerfed. You're going to see 33% less high-end tickets in your shop every single day. So from that perspective, you may not want to take any of these items to level 6 or to level 7. I think if I had to pick any of these, it's going to be the Cholesterol Cruiser and the Wild Slugger. If nothing else, you get one more track than these other 3. For the items with 8 tracks, you have Pauline Rose, you have the Cleanup Hitter, the Jet Cruiser, and Lime Tea Coupe, the City Lime Tea Coupe, and then you have the Black Toe Beam Balloons, Home Field Glider, Pink Gold Meteors, and the Starry Great Sail. For items with 7 tracks this tour, you have Penguin Mario, Romby Runner, Black Kabuki Dasher, the Holiday King, the Springtime Crane, Star Spangled Glider, Rose Parasol, and Sweetheart Glider. So a lot of those gliders that are in pipes. And so what are your thoughts on the ACR MVPs?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a typical city tour, nothing really sticking out. There's a couple of returning items if you're going for ACR that are, if you have them, maybe it'll help you make your decision. Starry Great Sail, Romby Runner, Black Toe Beam Balloons, those are some pretty, meta items that you may have at high level. If you do have those, it may help you in your decision to go for it. But this is, you can see how much the top of this tour is dominated by new items. Also, it's not a very coin box heavy tour. I think 36, only half the tracks are coin box tracks, which is I think we're around 2/3 of the non-city tracks in the game are coin box, so half is low. I think we have 18 coin box, 18 non-coin box, and the only one driver has 5 tracks out of the coin box drivers. That's Meowser, and after that, no other coin box driver has more than 3 tracks. So it's not really a coin box grinding tour.
Okay, good to know. I know we only have 2 or 3 more minutes before we are wrapping up this episode, but I think that's a really good point. I will say that if you're going for All Cup ranking, this is not a bad tour to go for it because the coverage is not great here. As you can see, a lot of people are going to be missing a lot of stuff because we got the LA Laps 2 and 3. A lot of people are going to be lacking some great coverage, so might want to zig while everyone else is zagging. Great time to go for top 100. As for ranked, we have nothing unlocked in the LA Laps 2T, nothing unlocked in the LA Laps 2R. There is just on the Remix Rainbow Road 2RT, you may not be lacking a cart, but the Cupid's Arrow, the brand new cart, is unlocked at level 6. Probably not something that you have the option of worrying about. Going into the week 2 of ranked, you have Los Angeles Laps 2. Wild Slugger is unlocked at level 6. And then for Maple Tree Way, you got a lot of options. You have a lot of options to begin with, and then you have a number of options being unlocked. So you got Pauline Rose, Peach Halloween, all unlocked at level 3. Mario Golf and Tanuki Mario unlocked at level 6. For carts, you got the Penguin Cart, the Sneaker, both unlocked at level 3. Then Dark Trickster, Sports Coupe, and Star Spangled Flyer unlocked at level 6. And then for gliders, you get the Calico Parafoil, which we haven't heard about in quite some time. And the Vampire Wings unlocked at level 3. And then the Silver Star Chute unlocked at level 6. That is what I'll be using for ranked next week. Nothing unlocked with Los Angeles 2 RT, as we mentioned. So not a lot to talk about on this screen. As we go into the multiple use ranked items, we have Luigi, Golf, and Mario Golf used 3 times, with just Mario Golf having that unlocked level 6 track. And then you have a lot of drivers used twice. So you have Charging Chuck, Daisy Swimwear, Mario Baseball, Shy Guy Gold, all used 2 times with nothing unlocked. Then you got Polly and Rose and Peach Halloween having two tracks unlocked at level 3. And then Tanuki Mario, just 1 track unlocked at level 6 to make it a total of 2 tracks there for him. Going into karts, you have Cupid's Arrow, the only kart used 3 times in ranked. You got a triple feature there. And that's due to its 1 level 6 track that we just referred to in our last slide. And then 2 regular unlocked normally. You got the Combo Cruiser, Grey Cat Cruiser. We've got a lot of cruisers. Jukebox Buggy, Sleigh Rider, Cleanup Hitter, Lime T Coupe, all with 2 tracks, nothing unlocked. You got the Sneaker unlocked at level 3 to make in 2 total. Dark Trickster unlocked at level 6. Star Spangled Flyer, same as that. And then Wild Slugger. So that's 1 and 1 unlocked normally, and then 1 unlocked at level 6 for a total of 2. And then for gliders, you get the Home Field Glider, the Magic Parasol, the 8-Bit Fire Flower, Golden Wings, Star Spangled Glider, Springtime Crane, and Candle Flight. All used twice. Nothing unlocked at level 3 or 6. So pretty straightforward there. Anything you want to mention about these multiple use ranked items, Antilev, before we wrap up?
No, not really. I mean, it's you can see it's not a lot of triples, no quadruples, so nothing that special. One thing I forgot to mention, and it's something that I'm not going to spend. I usually spend some time talking about, but I'm not going to this week. The amount of tracks left to see for a lot of items, it didn't change that much, so that's why I didn't really bring it up. I know a lot of people look forward to that. Just like 2 things: the Toad versus Toadette item. So that's Yellow Pit Cricket Toad, Yellow Off-Roader, Cactar, 8-Bit Mushroom Glider. They lost 9 tracks to see, down to 31. And the Space Tour items, so it's like Satellaview and his items, they also lost 9 tracks to see, so they're down to 49. Other than that, not a lot of change, just because we didn't get that many old returning tracks.
Crazy, man. Well, good to know. Well, there we go, guys. We finished in an hour and a half. Congratulations. Great job, Antilev. There was a lot of new drivers, a lot of new karts, no new gliders, so there was kind of a lot to talk about there, but not a lot to talk about when it came to buffs. Not a lot to talk about the movers and shakers because it's a city tour, and we got a lot of same tracks from last tour. So hopefully you enjoyed our content. If you did, feel free to... Well, actually, I'm not going to say free. Please, just push the little like button. I would absolutely love that. If you haven't subscribed yet, I think we're like... something in the 50% of people that watch this video are actually subscribed. So just subscribe. You'll get send the little note, the bell note, because notification, just because we do release this at different times. It's not always the same time every single week. So I don't want you to miss it. So definitely subscribe there. And if you're interested in our memberships, you're interested, I would say that the community and interacting with other people that play this game is one of the things that I love the most about this game. One of the reasons why I still absolutely love playing this game. I think if it wasn't for the memberships, it wasn't for Discord, it wasn't for interacting with the community, I may not be enjoying this game still to this extent as I have been. So if you do enjoy this game, you want to have conversations with other people about investing, about other things, definitely check out our memberships. But no hassle there. We just appreciate the support, appreciate the likes. Ansel, you want anything you want to add before we say goodbye?
Not at all. It's been a pleasure, as always.
As always. Well, thanks for joining us, man. As always, you've always bring a lot of value there, and I appreciate you letting me put it on the spot with the Tanuki Kart and the Vampire Flyer. But there you go, guys. Another rundown in the books. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, may the frenzy luck be with you. Thanks, guys.